guys, so I'm going to be trimming my bangs today and showing you how I do that. Someone requested it on the YouTube channel, so I'm going to get that done. I got my little Fonzie comb. I'm just combing them out, and what I like to do is make sure that they're super straight because my hair is naturally curly and it's got a calic or a wave in the front. So I'm just going to divide this in two and just take a clip, and I'm going to get the first layer as straight as possible. I just have a very skinny Tool Science flat iron, and I have it on the lowest setting. I usually use a very, very tiny flat iron, but this one is super hot, and I want to make sure I can get this hair as straight as possible. And the little one isn't super hot, which is great because on a day-to-day basis, I don't burn myself trying to do my bangs at the crack of dawn. So I'm just going to keep combing those out, and as you can see, they're pretty uneven. Okay. And I'm going to get all these little tiny pieces at the side. There you go. All right. And then I feel like I can get it a little bit more. I try to really get it like straight so it's not crooked when I cut it. And sometimes if it is, it is. I just work with it and shape it. But okay, so the next layer, and then I don't worry about being perfect all around. I do have a little guideline I follow, and so I'll just take my hair down to make sure I am getting all the pieces. I've gone to hairstylists with my hair up, and they've bang trimmed me and never bothered to do that. And then I have bangs that start in the wrong spot, so I've learned to not trust and do them myself and check them. Okay. So I'm just going to pull back some of these long pieces. We're going to do that. All right. Okay, so now we will, just as straight as possible. I don't worry about it too much, about the line being perfect, because I do have curly hair, and as long as it's quite nice and neat, that's good. And hair is hair. It does different stuff, and if you've had bangs, you know. You could just keep cutting them and cutting them. So I don't want to keep cutting back. So I'm going to get this next layer as flat as possible. And if you see some gray hair in there, get over it. I have. So I've had gray hair since I was like 17. So it's part of life. Don't even worry about it. So you can see how it's uneven. It needs a little trim. So we're gonna grab our scissors. So I went to Sally's and I got a pair of proper hair cutting scissors for trimming my bangs. After much frustration trying to find a hairstylist and going to them and having them not understand what I want for a Bettie bang and just variety. I have had one or two really good people, and then they either live too far from me, and it's hard to get there all the time to get that trim, or they've moved. So I've resorted to fixing my bangs when I can, and then when I find someone, it's like heaven. They make it all perfect, and I'm on the hunt right now. Okay, so as you can see, it's uneven. So what I like to do, I'm just going to run it one more time. Make sure. Okay. And then what I like to do is I like to find my longest point. I like mine about here. I do like my eyebrows showing. I have a natural my eyebrows twitch. And when I talk, one goes up, one stays down. It's just my thing. I like my eyebrows. They're not going anywhere. So for those people who commented on my eyebrows, thank you. And those who told me they had to go, usually I notice when people say stuff like that, they're projecting their own insecurities onto me, and so I don't worry about it. I've had people say the worst things to me, and I've gotten to a point where I just ignore it. So onwards and upwards, let's babe on, and here we go. So I find the longest point, and I just guesstimate. I've also got a side mirror here, which is a little closer for me to see, so I'm going to use that. It's just a makeup mirror with a bright light. And I like it right there. So I'm going to make a starting point. I'm just going to kind of go like that. And I do have towels below me here, so, and we've got some flyaways. So while I cut my bangs, I make sure to get rid of all these little hairs, which look really crazy. So I just take a makeup brush, and at the very end, I will take a hair dryer and really blow it out so that I'm not walking around throughout the day with little pieces of hair everywhere, which happens. So as you can see, my bangs are starting to straighten up. I see less of a kink or a wave, so I'm just gonna, they feel a little bit uneven. So I'm gonna do just a touch more. All right, so I'm still just finding my midpoint. I'm just basically cutting right in here. So I still have this to do and this to do. And for my Bettie bangs, I round them up a little bit. So I go up a little bit higher, but I'm careful not to go too high and too far back. Like I said, you can just keep cutting. So I'm just following the guideline that's there right now. Okay, and then I'm gonna go gently to this side, and I'm just gonna grab the little hairs I see. I push it down a little bit just to make sure they're even, and pull these hairs back. I don't wanna get those. You can see these are slightly uneven, so I'm gonna grab that. And I just keep combing and making sure it's straight. I can see it's a little rounded here, so I'm just gonna hold it down and very gently, little by little, just trim off and kind of angle it. All right, so now I'm gonna do the other side because this is pretty good. I don't wanna go any shorter than that at the moment. I'm gonna make sure this is really flat because I feel like this is looking short and it's partly the natural wave in my hair. So I don't wanna accidentally cut it so it's too short. So I'd rather leave it a little longer and then check it the next day. And like I said, I just very little amounts I'm trimming off, and I'll hold it down every so often like this. You can see how that's already more even than that side. So I try to put my eyebrow down so it doesn't mess me up, and I think that it's longer than it is. There we go. Brush that away. And I wear airbrush makeup, so when I brush it away, it's not brushing off my actual makeup. So I love that. And then now I can see that the wave and the curl hair, so I'm going to give it some little special attention. I'm going to make sure it's super flat. And then I'm going to just get those little tiny hairs. And that's all I had to do. And it's super clean and straight. And then this side looks like it's slightly longer, so I'm going to even it out a little bit. And like I said, I'm careful because if you have a natural wave or curl, it could actually be the same length and one side just kinks up more than the other. So do your best to get as straight as possible. And if it doesn't, don't worry about it because your hair's got that wave. It's going to be like that all the time anyway. So just work with what you have. And I just do what works for me. If you have a better way of doing this, feel free to share your tips. I would love to hear. So that is how. So I'm just going to take a little blow dryer and clean up the bang pieces. And I sometimes forget to do this, and then I'll look in a mirror and see all these little hairs, and they're easy to miss. So you want to do this. Like I said, I use the brush while I'm cutting, and then I turn on this. And just make sure you get those little pieces, and then just give that a little comb. All right, thank you. And if you like this video, like, share, and click your notifications so you know when my next video is coming. Thanks so much.